Hi everyone, let's take a look at this worksheet on decimals, focusing on the place value of thousandths. Let's take a look at question number 1. Fill in the blanks to express each number as a fraction and a decimal. An example is shown below. Do take note that for a fraction, we have to write it as a proper fraction or a mixed number. Let's take a look at part B. You are given the decimal 3.158 and you are asked to convert it into a fraction, to write it as a fraction. So whenever we are given a number or a decimal, the first thing that we should do is to label the place value chart. Okay, so let's find out the decimal point is here. In front of the decimal point is the ones place, and directly behind the decimal point we have the tenths place, followed by the hundredths place, followed by the thousandths place. Okay, so next we need to decide which is the smallest place value. That is the thousandths place. So we know that our fraction has to be out of a thousand because the smallest place value is thousandths place. Okay, so out of a thousand, from the thousandths place, what is the value? There are 3,158 thousandths, and we have to write it as a proper fraction. So if we were to follow closely, our whole number we have 3 ones, which is 3 wholes. So 3 wholes. The smallest place value is out of a thousand because the smallest place value is thousandths place. And with 3 wholes gone, we are left with 158 thousandths. So this is the answer for part B. Let's go on and look at part C. The same method applies. Given a decimal, we should always label its place value chart. The decimal point is here. In front of the decimal point, we have the ones place. Behind the decimal point, we have the tenths place, followed by the hundredths place, followed by the thousandth place. So same thing, we have to decide which is the smallest place value. That is the thousandths place. So out of 1,000. Okay, so from this thousandth place, how many thousandths are there? It is 2,064. Now because we have to write it as a proper fraction, so same thing again, look at the whole number. How many wholes are there? There are 2 wholes. So 2 whole. With that's gone. Okay, for the fraction, the smallest place value is again 1,000. So look at what is left behind. You have 0.64 thousandths. Is it necessary to write a 0? It is not necessary. If the 0 is directly in front, it does not have a value. Okay, so our answer should just simply be 64 thousandths. So 64 thousandths. Okay, so this is the answer for part C. Let's go on to look at part D. Now for part D, you are given a fraction and you're supposed to write a decimal. Okay, so since we are given 1 whole, we know that it is 1 point something. Okay, and notice that it is out of 1,000, so there should be 3 decimal places. Okay, because it's up to 1,000, the smallest place value has to be the thousandth place. And now we look at the numerator is 317. It fits nicely, 317. So the answer for part D should be 1.317. Now let's go on to look at part E. Very simple. Same thing, we have the whole, that is 3 wholes, so it's 3 point something. We look at the denominator, it is out of 1,000. How many zeros are there? There are 3. Meaning to say, in the decimal, there should be up to 3 decimal places. Look at the digit in the numerator, the number in the numerator. That is a 4. So it's telling us that there should be 4 thousandths. Okay, so it should be 4 thousandths. How about the numbers, the digits in front of the 4? It should be a 0 and a 0. The answer should be 3.004. Okay, so if we were to do a check back, we have 3 holes, which is here, 3 holes. And there are 3 decimal places, so it is out of 1,000. Okay, and there is only 4,000, so that's why here is a 4. So the digits in front should be a 0. And therefore the answer for part E should be 3.004. Let's go on and look at question number 2. Question number 2. In the number 28.061, fill in the blanks. So same thing, whenever we are given a number, it's very important that we label the place value chart. So first we find the decimal point here. In front of the decimal point is the ones place, followed by the tens place. And directly behind the decimal point we have tenths place, followed by the hundredths place, followed by the thousandths place. Okay, part A. Let's take a look at part A. The digit watt stands for 0.06. So whenever they ask for the digit, is actually finding a single number. So if you want 0.06, which digit are we looking at? We are looking here at this digit. Okay, it's in the hundredths place, that's why it is 0.06. So what is the digit? The digit will just be 6 because it's a single number. Let's go on to part B. The digit 0 is in the watt place. Go to the digit 0. Which place value is it at? It is at the tenths place. So let's spell it out. Tenths. Tenths place. Let's go on to part C. The value of the digit 1 is what? So whenever they ask for a value, they are actually asking for the actual number. So let's take a look. Digit 1, let's find it, is here in the thousandth place. So how do you write 1,000th as a number? How do you write 1,000th as a number? Okay, look at thousandth. TH means you have to write it as a decimal. 1,000 has how many zeros? It has 3 zeros. So you got to move the decimal point how many places backwards? You got to move 3 places backwards. 1, 2, 3. Dot. So your answer should be 0. Under the umbrella 0, 0, 1. So the answer for part C has to be 0.001. Let's go on to look at part D. Same thing, the value. Value stands for the actual number of the digit 2 is what? So let's go search for the digit 2. It's in the tens place. How do you write 2 tenths as a number? Okay, so previously this should be 0.001. How about 2 tenths? How do you write it as a number? Tenths means it's this way, right? 10. How many zeros are there in 10? 1 0. So your answer should be 2 tenths with 1 0. and therefore the answer for part D has to be 20. The value of the digit 2 is 20. Let's go on and look at question number 3. Fill in the missing numbers, starting from part A, 581 tenths. So same thing, whenever you see this TH, it means it has to be written as a decimal. Decimal point is involved. And 10, how many zeros are there in 10? 1 0. Meaning to say the decimal point, you have to move it backwards by how many places? 1 place. Okay, so the answer for part A is 58.1. Let's go on to part B. 581 hundredths. Same thing, if you see the word TH, it means there must be a decimal point in your answer. And for 100, how many zeros are there? There are 2 zeros. So you actually move the decimal point forward by how many decimal places? 1 and 2 dot. So your answer for part B has got to be 5.81. This is the answer for part B. Let's go on to part C. 581 thousandths. Same thing, you see this TH, it means there must be a decimal point in the answer. And in a thousand, how many zeros do you see? There are 3 zeros. So the decimal point, you have to move it forward by how many decimal places? 1, 2, 3 dot. So your answer for part C has to be 0.581. So notice that for part A, B, and C, even though the question looked very similar, it's 581, 581, 581, but because the place value is different, they're talking about tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. So your answer will be different, right? So in part A, you should be able to notice that in part A, your answer is 58.1. In part B, 5.81. And in part C, it gets even smaller. The number gets smaller. 0.581. Okay, so you have to take note of the place value very, very carefully. Now let's go on to part D. 7 tenths, 6 ones, 3 tenths, 100th, 5 thousandths. How do you write it as a number? Okay, so we follow Artie's method, underline, and we label. 7 tenths. What is the value of 7 tenths? 70. How about the value of 6 ones? 6. How about the value of 3 tenths? Okay, so I see this TH, it means decimal point is involved. 10 has how many zero? 1 0. So I move the decimal point forward by 1 decimal place. So this 3 tenths should be 0.3. Let's go on and look at 100th. Same thing, I see TH, it means a decimal point is involved. And 100, how many zeros are there? There are 2 zeros. So I move the decimal point forward by 1 and 2. 2 decimal places, dot. My answer should be a 0.01. And finally, for 5 thousandths, same thing, I see TH, decimal point is involved. 1,000, how many zeros are there? There are 3 zeros. So I move the decimal point forward by 1, 2, 3 decimal places. Focus on the red ink. So it has to be 0 point, under the umbrella, 1 umbrella, 2 umbrellas. The value has to be 0.005. And if I were to add up all the numbers together, 70 plus 6 plus 0.3 plus 0.01, the decimal point must be aligned, plus 0.005. I add them together. Okay, for those, I can add the zeros, the missing zeros at the back, to make all of them into 3 decimal places, dot 000. And I can then do an addition, starting from the smallest place value, the last column. I have a 5, a 1, a 3, dot, 6, and a 7. So the answer should be 76.315 for part D. And finally, for part E, you are given the decimal and you're supposed to fill in the blank. So given a decimal, what we always do is we label the place value chart. So first find a decimal point. In front of the decimal point, the place value is a ones. Behind the decimal point, the place value is a tenths, followed by a hundredth, and finally a thousandth. So now we do a comparison. On the right side of the equation is a 3 whole, 3 ones, which matches with this 3 ones. Moving on, I have a 0.7, which is actually 7/10. Okay, matched. And finally over here, I have a 0.001, which is a 1,000th, represented on the left side over here, 1,000th. And therefore the missing blank over here is actually 800th. How do you write the value of 800th? Okay, so same thing, I see CH means it must be a decimal. 100, there are 2 zeros in 100. So I got to shift my decimal point forward by how many decimal places? 1 and 2, dot. Remember to write your zeros in the umbrella as well. My answer will have to be a 0.08. So this is the answer for part E. With that, we end this worksheet. Thank you.